Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Freedom Tech Talk. I'm your host, Frankie P. What we're talking about today is killer audio, whether it's for your business, for your home, for your boat, for your plane. I don't give a shit what you have. We're talking audio. And today, as you can see, we're on top of the world at the great new Aqua Steakhouse in Cape Coral, Florida. And my special guest today is Kyle Cashwell, the guy that runs Origin Acoustics for the state of Florida. Is that right, Kyle?
That's right. I thought you were going to say runs Origin Acoustics.
No, I don't want to give you that. I don't want to give you that much credit. Let's put it that way. You're not getting that much credit.
Southeast. Yep.
Southeast. Oh, so you don't run the whole state. You just do the important part.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no. Southeast of the U.S.
Southeast.
You have
right. Southeast of the U.S.
Yep.
Got it. I thought you only had like a little portion of Florida, which would be kind of cool because we get to see each other more often.
So I was going to say, I'll just focus on Naples from now on just so we can hang out, you know?
It'd probably be smart.
Yeah, right.
It'd probably be smart. All right, so listen, I came up with a bunch of questions and stuff like that to give our listeners some information and being able to make educated decisions on their audio, whether it's their business like we're here at Aqua again in Cape Coral, and the amazing job that we did here that we're so, proud of, because we've already gotten many comments on how nice the audio is everywhere, but we'll get into that. And then obviously, we do a lot of residential work as well. So we're going to want to talk about outdoor audio, which is one of my faves, right?
Oh yeah, Pinnacle in Florida, man.
In Florida, where everybody's out. We've got indoor, we've got home theaters, we've got surround sound, loft for the kids to play their video games, all kinds of fun stuff. And audio's been one of my things since I can remember. I started in car audio back in, I'm not going to say really, but it was a few decades ago. Let's put it that way. And it was fun. That's where I got my first hook, to audio. Mounting 18-inch subwoofers behind rear seats and 410s across the deck with piezo tweeters and pull-out Alpine head units and stuff like that. And yeah, I always had a badass sound system in my car, so it was fun.
Hey, all the best integrators starting 12 volt. That's the rule of thumb.
That's why we're so good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we're so good. All right, so Kyle, let's start with this. Let's talk a little bit about history, because I think being Origin Acoustics today, consumers may have not heard of it. I think consumers really learn about the brand through the dealers and guys like myself. So tell me a little bit about Origin Acoustics, its history, and that whole story.
Yeah, so I'll give you the story as I know it. This was well before I was born, the right age of 30. So we're going back.
You're a young pup.
Yeah, pups. Yeah, emphasis on that.
I wish I was 30.
Yeah. So way back, there was two gentlemen, Ken and Ed, and they were two of the main guys at Speakercraft. They were responsible for creating the very first architectural and ceiling speaker. The story as I know it, guy comes in with an RV. Back then, we think about it now, we've got integrated speakers everywhere. It's not even a second guess for us. Back then, a guy shows up and goes, hey, how do I keep these speakers from going all over the place without having to stow them every single time, that we move the RV?
In the RV, of course.
So they had the bright idea back then of cutting a hole in the bottom of cabinets, taking that baffle instead of into a speaker box, going right into the bottom of the cabinet, and voila. That was the creation of the very first architectural speaker in ceiling, which in cabinet.
At the time, sure.
But that is where it started from. And before that, Speakercraft did some really, some things that we really wouldn't think of these days is, teaching people how to build speakers. That was a bigger thing back then than it was, now we go, standard person can go to Best Buy, or they call Frank, or whatever it is, you just go buy a speaker from somebody. Back in those days, that was a hobby. You're sitting there, you're winding speakers and creating coils and all that stuff, right? So that's what Speakercraft started as. They continue to OEM for a bunch of massive companies that are still in business today. Some of the largest names in the industry, actually, Speakercraft was OEMing for quite some time. Now we fast forward. Jeremy, the owner of Origin Acoustics, ended up working there. He came through. Man. Yeah, he's a CD legend for a reason, man.
Yeah.
Amazing
individual.
Reputation is unbelievable. And we get all the way to the end of Speakercraft. Jeremy's now a primary owner. They sell out. Jeremy retires for, I think, 5 or 6 years. Well, you're not that kind of guy. and stay retired.
That's why I said. I mean, he bought his beautiful ranch in what, Nevada, right?
In Nevada, yep.
He's in Nevada. He's
just outside of
living
Vegas.
life. I mean, even how can you? I mean, yeah, you got all the money in the world. You got a beautiful ranch, big ass American flag. You got your dogs. You got everything, and then you wake up in the morning without purpose.
Hey,
Like,
imagine
what are you
walking out
doing?
your back slider. You've got this pool, this wonderful landscape, and all you see is just incredible Nevada
Amazing.
Desert out there. I mean, it is the most beautiful sight from his back door. So, you know, when you're that high level of a guy, you don't stay bored. You know,
Sure.
you do something to keep yourself busy. So in 2014, we came out with Origin Acoustics. In Origin, right, we are the originators of the architectural and ceiling speaker. That's how we
that's
started
how you
the
got the
business.
name. Very cool.
From
Okay.
what I understand, right?
Got it.
Again, before my time.
You're not lying to me, are you?
I wouldn't intentionally.
Okay, got it.
So that's kind of how Origin came to be, and very shortly thereafter, you know, Mark Fisher joined the team. So it was Mark, Jeremy, Nick, which are all still very, very, you know, a part of the
Great
business.
team.
And it was
Been
one
to
of the strongest
corporate,
teams.
met everybody at some of the events and stuff like that. Just an amazing group of individuals.
Ooze information,
That
man.
ooze information, but
Yep.
for me, you can feel the passion from everyone. You know, whether it's Nick, whether it's Mike doing a presentation on stage and talking about, you know, shut the damn water off when you're brushing your teeth. Let's save a little. Everybody does a little bit to make, you know, change when I was there.
Yep.
It was just, was great. All the way back to the people that are packing. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy. I mean, so yeah, I mean, they've done an amazing job.
Hey, that doesn't get on you without it being some sort of family.
Ah,
right?
look at you.
You know what I mean? So it's been 5 years.
I should
and
probably guess.
Yeah, you gotta.
You know, I've got mine.
Got some
you know,
space.
my little Polish thing going on here. Glory and honor to the heroes of the Warsaw Uprising.
There you go.
But maybe I'll get that. That's
Yeah, you know, a little match.
I mean, we're definitely selling enough speakers to warrant getting a free tattoo, maybe. So
Oh, I can sort out the free
You
part.
can sort out
we
the free-
we can do that for sure.
that's awesome.
Yep.
So let's continue. I mean, we sidetracked a little bit, but let's continue on, you know, Jeremy's story a little bit. So he comes in and obviously, you know, we sold Speakercraft. We have the knowledge. We've got manufacturing because we know where we made this stuff and so on and so forth. But the Origin products, like, you know, 14 different size speakers fitting into one, you know, one hole almost, right? Or whatever the number is. Don't quote me on it. But,
Yep.
you know, that requires some goddamn thought process.
Absolutely.
You know, who in the back room is sitting here engineering, or like the small profile stuff that we have in the ceiling now, architectural to match the 4-inch lights and stuff like that.
I mean, you go back and you look at the history of what Jeremy has come up with, and you know, the guy's mind works different, right? So you go back to the Speakercraft AM. You know, that was the story of that is Jeremy sitting on a plane one day, looks up to adjust his air, pushes his air to aim it at himself, and goes, I can do that with a speaker. We can have a speaker in the ceiling that we can aim in any direction. So you go back and the guy he comes up with something new. He's always thinking. He's just one of those guys. So that was one of the very first things when he came back out with Origin. He's like, well, I can't just come out with another architectural in-ceiling.
Sure.
Who doesn't have one? How do we make it different? What can we do to stand out? How do we make the dealer's life easier? And actually, it's funny that you say, you know, I don't want to, you know, oversell it, but you said 14. It's actually closer to 30.
Wow.
So in an 8 3/4 inch cutout,
I stand corrected.
yeah, you got.
Which I normally am.
Yeah, you got close to 30 speakers that you can fit in there between our whole line. So all the
And
way
we
down
love that.
from-
You know, as a
Yeah.
dealer,
Yeah.
that is less parts, less everything. You know, and a lot of the spec homes that we do, where we're, you know, they don't want to put in the full speaker. We put in the bezel, we put in the grill, we put in the little, the air stopper. And, you know, now people think that there's speakers in there when they buy the house. So they automatically kind of have to come back to us because we got to put in Origin. We're the only one that fit that click. I love the sound of that click. Click, boom, done, finished. I mean, it's amazing from back in the day. I mean, I was a Proficient boy, you know, and that's where I started back in 97 with Keith Marshall, one of my best friends ever. And he came and put a speaker on my conference room table. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, well, it's a speaker.
It's a speaker, right?
He's like, well, take it, grab it, you know? So that whole X and being able to hold that and, you know, screwing in the dog legs to put the speaker in was unique. I mean, even something that simple was cool. I mean, we sold my brother up in Pennsylvania. with my other company that I sold, before I moved down to Florida, still using Proficient.
Which is funny because now we look at holding a speaker like that as that if you're missing that, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Now it's everything else that came. And that was another thing. I mean, we were the very first toolless in and out speaker, so it was no more going to do dog legs and throwing a drill up there and having a new tech shove a bit through a speaker. I'm not going to say I've never done it. And I'm not going to say I've never done it.
I've done it. I mean, if you've installed tens of thousands of speakers,
you've done a few. Oh, yeah. You've done a few.
So we're here at Origin. Like I said, we've got the whole thing going on. And let me ask you this. As the regional manager for Origin, how does this Florida, especially where we're here, pretty much right on the water, Cape Coral, the environment influence the type of, products that you guys are making, whether it's indoor, whether it's outdoor, not so much indoor, but really the outdoor environment. And what makes the Florida market, unique to the rest of the country when it comes to high-end outdoor audio?
Sure. I mean, yeah, we have some of the most water coverage, if not the most water coverage on the coast of any state, right? We're peninsula. We've got all the way down through the Gulf and everything, some of the most caustic water you can be around. We have to take steps in order to avoid any sort of tarnishing on any of our speakers. So the actually unique thing about our in-ceiling, so our Explorer series to be specific, and those of you that don't know, the Explorer series stuff, that's same exact thing as the Director, just with coating, essentially.
Yep. Which
Stalls
I've
the
used
same
them
way.
on a boat.
And that's what they were built for. Yeah, they were built for yachts. And it's salt spray and heat and water constantly, sun damage. Those, we actually use a coating that is completely outside of our industry. It's not something that anybody else uses. I believe it was Nick that ended up finding this stuff. I think Nick and Mike Hopkins who found this coating that we could throw over the speaker. And it is a wild UV coating, and the speakers just don't tarnish outside. Even for something being outside, we've still got a 5-year warranty on it. The speakers don't, or the grills don't tarnish. They've got a special coating over them. We've got all the magnets integrated into the plastic so the magnets don't tarnish. You got a special coating over our locks that are on the edge of those bayonet rings, so those don't tarnish.
Wow.
There's additional gasket material.
I didn't know there was that much. I knew they were outdoor friendly, but I didn't know that you guys had that much, designed and engineered.
The salt is not friendly.
No, not at all. No. Caustic, we know that.
I
mean, I bought a, $4,000 stainless steel barbecue, obviously made in China.
Yep.
It looks like a rust bucket now. So obviously it's garbage stainless steel, which the Chinese are selling us. But, other than that, it just goes to show you how caustic the environment is. And I'm, a couple miles off the beach. I'm not right on the beach. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. So as far as the outdoor speakers, let's kind of talk about, the different ways that we can fill our backyard paradise with sound, right? I call it the Disney effect. Wherever you're at, you hear the same nice music, putting you in a mood and just making you feel nice. When you go out there, sit outside in your paradise, grab your cigar, your bourbon, your champagne, whatever it is that you're doing, there's just something that is so nice about being surrounded by outdoor sound.
I think when you're at home, you get so used to being at home. And then when you go out, you get so used to being out. And they're two separate places. And it doesn't have to feel that way.
Sure.
And there's so many different ways that you can do that at home. You go out and music always creates an emotion, whether it's an emotion to get a little active, get a little excited, start to dance, have a couple drinks.
We know that.
Or we do. Or it's the alternative, right?
Sure.
A nice relaxing night. You throw on some Frank Sinatra, you sit out there with a bourbon, you drink your cigar, or you smoke your cigar. You can go any direction that you want with it. And the trick of it is showing that customer that they can feel that way in their own home, and then also giving them several different ways that they can visualize that.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to hide some satellites in a couple bushes? Do they want to have a baller that more integrates with their design and is a 360 degree and gives you more of that Disney effect? There's so many different directions you can go with it, but the most important part is just being able to show them like, hey, you can get that same emotion at home that you can have when you're out. And you can go out there and you can sit and feel like you're almost somewhere else. You're not home, but you can still walk through that slider and go back to bed.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's cool. And I kind of got ahead of myself because the question that I was going to ask is, Let's see here, because I've got some really cool questions for you. I hope you're ready, because
I'm locked in.
you're locked in, dialed in, ready to go. Because here at Aqua Steak and Cape Coral, again, amazing, only rooftop venue. We've got great outdoor speakers here, which are the box style. Inside, downstairs, which you'll see later in some of the recording, we had very tall ceilings. We had 16, 19-foot ceilings. So with your help and the team at Origin, supporting us as a dealer, always helped us with the design. We took a look at how much square footage we needed. You guys told us, okay, we need this many speakers. We need this many subs. This is the amplification, which the Origin Pro amps are unbelievable with the amount of features that you guys have packed into those amplifiers. So when it comes to the atmosphere of a restaurant, because that's really what I want to spend most of my time with this podcast, is to get other business owners, whether they're restaurateurs, whether it's a retail store, no matter what business you have, I think we need to set the mood as you walk in, before you even take your first bite. I believe, at least I know I do, because I'm pretty critical, that I judge a place before I even took the first bite of food when I'm walking in. And that's kind of what we did here. So tell me a little bit about when we walked in and you automatically, you're like, wow. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and as professionals in the industry, we are the most critical on audio. The first thing we do when we walk into a building, especially a restaurant that we're going to enjoy a meal in, that it is going to create that emotion, we look up, So I am always hypercritical of that, just like yourself. But again, it goes back to if you walk into a restaurant and you've got a speaker in the front left corner and a speaker in the back right corner, you got the people in the middle who are, they might be okay and having a decent experience with that music, but you're going to have those people right next to those other speakers that are getting absolutely screamed at. The biggest thing in what people don't understand is when you go through these restaurants, we're not looking for volume when we put a bunch of speakers up. We're looking for coverage.
Correct.
You want to be walking to the bathroom and you never want to hear that volume change. You always want it to be that constant blanket of sound over you. And it doesn't have to be loud. And when it is loud, it makes having those valuable conversations that you're having at dinner significantly harder to have. It makes your experience worse.
Sure.
So by adding more of those speakers, you can have that party effect if the restaurant wants to turn it up a little bit at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Everybody's starting to have a few cocktails, the bar gets lively. Or when you're having that really nice dining experience during your day, especially like, beautiful bar, a beautiful restaurant. Up here especially, I'm sure they get it cranked up a little bit out here, but you have great coverage.
Oh, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
But downstairs, if someone, especially, noontime, 5 o'clock, something like that, someone's coming in for that dinner, they're not here to crank it up, to get excited. They're here to have a nice meal. And I think that's really where that coverage and that, consistent design of speakers, which we have a fantastic design department, as you know, that is very, very good at doing that for us. That's when those come into play the most and they're most valued.
Okay. So obviously here, let's talk a little bit about the choice of speakers that we chose and, kind of why we chose them for this application, because I think this is the more restaurants that we're seeing are going for that more industrial look, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're leaving the ceilings open, painting it a dark color or whatever it may be, saves on cost to develop the restaurant as well.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about the speakers, plus, why we added subs. The owner here, Gordon and his family, hardest working people in the restaurant industry. This is their 4th location.
Yep.
So they've got this one. This is the newest one. They've got Green Tree Plaza, which is North Naples. They've got one in Bonita. And then they have the first one, which was about 16 years already, on 5th Ave in Naples. Okay. So it was always, for me, Gordon and I, we have a drink, we laugh. He's the 2-speaker guy, right?
Right.
He's the 2-speaker guy.
Not anymore, he's not.
Not anymore, he's not. Yep. So to let him do me, like we talk about, I'm like, listen, let me do the audio. You stick to grilling the perfect steak, okay? And we've got that understanding now, and we understand each other, okay? And now he understands why we did what we did. So talk to me a little bit about the speakers and the technology there.
Yeah, so the speakers design first. Let's just go straight to the design of it. Because we had to design the speaker to blend in with that exact atmosphere that you're looking for. When you're going through this restaurant, as we look at the lighting that comes down, you have cylindrical lighting that comes down from a hanger, and it's very low impact on the space, right? So we have to have a speaker that's going to be high impact in audio, but low impact in what it looks like. That way it matches up with everything else. So that's why we created them in those cylinders versus any of the other, commercial type speakers you see, whether it's like the teardrop or the big square guys or whatever it is. That was purely a design focused decision in order to make them like that. The next part of those is it is a sealed box. So it gives the speaker a little bit more of that oomph to begin with. And then adding a passive radiator on that top end to blow up, it is just going to create a completely different sound. I mean, it is way bolstered in the low end, way more meat on the bones. I mean, what was the first thing I said to you when we walked in the restaurant today? I'm like, gosh, these things seriously punch out of their class. I mean, it's unbelievable what you get out of a pendant.
I think every time I walk in, because I'm here, a couple times a week, still dialing things in, making stuff perfect like I like to do. Every time I come in, I'm more and more impressed because I'm starting to listen a little bit more. Instead of, before I was just running around trying to get stuff done. Now I'm sitting down at the bar. I'm sitting down in one of the tables and just to see whether we got the right coverage, and we do. And then we've got the private wine room, which we've got the speakers in ceiling over there, which just, sound beautiful, low volume, having a nice dinner, your great wines from all over the world, great grilled steaks by Gordon and team, but we did add a couple subs that are hidden. You can't even tell that they're there.
I could barely find them. You're pointing in corners, and I'm looking around going, what are you talking about? And those guys, man, those themselves, I had only gotten to hear those a couple times before here. This is the first true implementation I've gotten to hear them in. And at the low volume we're at, again, you see my confusion. I'm looking around. I'm like, man, why does it feel so full in here? And they're just capable of covering such a large area.
Exactly.
And it's just like your car. You want to get in your car and you want a full experience. You don't want to get in your car and feel like your shorts are cut off below you, right? You want to feel deep. You want full, and it creates that better experience overall.
Yeah. And I think, again, it just comes down to the education of the business owner, right?
Absolutely.
Because now we're going to talk about just a little bit about how potentially spending this money, which he spent a little bit more than just popping speakers in four corners, right? How that translates into more money in the restaurant, right?
Creating a better atmosphere is going to bring more people in. You're going to have, it's like a vacation. When you leave, you want to feel like you want to go back. You never want to stay in a vacation too long. And it's the same thing in a restaurant or anything else that is a choice, you know? You want to go, and when you leave, you want to be like, man, the music was nice. The food was good. And you can go somewhere, and the way I look at it anyways, you can go somewhere and have 8 out of 10 food, 7 out of 10 food. But the experience is awesome, so it's going to make you want to go back,
And that's 100% right, because, it's our choice to go wherever we want. And I always say that when I go out, I'm going out because I want to release. I can stay home and cook. I'm a great cook.
Sure.
I love to cook. And guess what? It's cheaper to stay home, right? But we decide to go out. And I'll tell you, I mean, there's a lot of places that you go to, and very underwhelming. Whether I've got 3 points. So I've got number one, which I judge a restaurant on. Number one is the service. Number two is the atmosphere. Number three is the food. All three of those, have to somehow,
they're almost equally as important.
They're almost equally as important. So coming in here, having great music, enjoying the vibe, getting a great cocktail, having a great steak. I think if you are happy with the environment, you're going to stay longer. You're going to have maybe an extra cocktail.
Have more drinks.
You're going to have more drinks. And if you're done downstairs, you're going to transition to this beautiful rooftop. And you're going to have maybe a couple more and a cigar, like we like to do. So how much was that average dollar sale increase because of the atmosphere? So when I think about it, service has to be decent. Sometimes the servers, no matter where you're at, they don't come, or they come too quick. As soon as you got your first bite, how's the food? I'm like, I just got the first bite. Or they don't come at all, right? So I think there should be. Me personally, I had a restaurant in Pennsylvania for almost 10 years and a brewery. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
It was a Polish-American restaurant. My wife and I, ran it, and it was a great experience. I think any entrepreneur in their life should do that to get it out of their system, right? You know, I am in awe of Gordon and his family. I mean, all the kids are working the restaurants, the whole family. I would never do it again. You know, it's just so much work. It's 24/7. And these guys are open 24/7. They're not closed Christmas. They're not closed. It's always Thanksgiving, great dinners, great meals, and everything else. But I think that whole atmosphere, for me anyway, drinks, I mean, drinks are drinks, right?
Sure.
You know, I'm a martini guy. I'll have a good martini. You really can't screw that up.
As long as you
make
get
it
a
nice
decent
and cold,
vodka,
decent
and it's cold,
vodka,
you're
that's
good.
it.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the money comes back multifold when you have a great atmosphere, because a great atmosphere is going to attract more people see more people, and that's the end of the story. Same of what he's experiencing here right now.
And I think you nailed it on the head. I think if you don't treat everything equally, someone is going to find something to complain about.
Sure.
So if you lack an atmosphere, or you lack in service, or you lack in food, each of them holds their own weight. So you have to equally put in that effort to each of those. And this restaurant's a great example of that.
I mean, but then again, I mean, the human species is a flawed species. I mean, we can't figure it out. I mean, we complain about all kinds of stuff that shouldn't even be complained about. I'm like, you know, and I get on this tangent sometimes, and I'm talking to everybody. You know, if you think you're having a bad day, well, guess what? You're not having a bad day. You woke up, you sat on a nice white porcelain throne, you got a nice hot shower, you got in your car, you went to your office, you went to your job. I'm like, we are so blessed to live in, especially in this country.
Absolutely.
And what we're experiencing and everything else. I mean, you know what? Don't complain. Just freaking be happy. Turn on some good Origin tunes and rock out. And we did talk about the whole coastal thing and stuff like that, just like the speakers that we have outside here. And they're the outdoor speakers have 5-year warranty?
Yep. 5-year warranty.
Actually, let's talk about the warranties, because I think you guys have some of the best warranties in the industry, if not the best.
Yeah, so our worst warranty we have, and this includes electronics, which electronics are always 2-year because they...
Remind me to talk, we're going to talk about the amplifiers a little bit too.
Got it, okay. So yeah, our warranties are pretty much the best. You know, typically for electronics, it's 2 years. We're at 5. And then everything, even outdoor, your grills, your satellites, your in-ceilings, all that stuff is 5 years. Then you go up to the next tier, which is 20 years. And we've got a couple check marks you gotta check to get 20 years on a couple of our products, primarily our invisibles, which, an invisible goes in a wall behind drywall. So a 20-year warranty on something like that, it's a pretty big deal.
And that's another one we should talk about when we get into some of the residential stuff, because that technology has come a long way from the invisible speakers that we're talking 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. So, and then the final warranty is lifetime.
Sure.
And I think we're 85 to 90% of our products are actually just straight up lifetime warranty. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of our products.
And that, again, and that says a lot to a dealer like myself. So what I tell my customers, and the competition is watching, guess what? I do a lifetime warranty on everything, because you know what? My customers are worth it.
Yep.
All right. They spent tens of thousands on audio. I'm going to take the hit if something goes bad. Like we had that outdoor sub for that client, a couple of weeks ago. It was 5 years old. I mean, it's in the ground. Maybe God knows what got in there. It took a crap. It happens.
Yep.
But we got it. You guys had one. You know what? The guy spent 60 grand with me. I'm not going to ding him 800.
Yep.
It's just not right. So if you want your clients to love you, guess what? Do that. They'll love you. Let's talk about, which is one of my favorite things, when I was so happy when you guys came out with we have the speakers, but now we've got the electronics to drive the speakers, which is kind of the icing on the cake, the secret little fairy dust sprinkle on top when it's all done.
Yep.
The amount of features that are built into these amplifiers, and like what we did here with the tuning, but I don't know enough because I'm a sales guy, right? I used to install, I don't install anymore. I got my boys, I got the team, they handle that. Talk to me a little bit about the features and, how that makes a good system even better.
Sure. Yeah, so it all starts with power, right? You can have a Ferrari. It can look absolutely beautiful on the outside, but if it's got a Honda Civic motor in it, it's not going to be very fun.
Hey. I had 3 Honda Civics.
I'm not
probably
hating
the
on
best
the
damn
Hondas.
car that I ever had. Pick a different car, Hyundai, whatever you want to pick.
Had a Kia Forte motor.
There you go. That's better.
Somebody else will catch a stray. Ain't nothing wrong with Honda. They last forever. However, it's not going anywhere fast.
I get what
you
you're
know what I
saying.
mean. It's not going to sound incredible.
You didn't have mine with a friggin' turbo, dude. The size it was coming through the hood.
Yeah.
You have no idea. We were going fast.
Pow, pow, pow.
Many places.
So, but yeah, it all starts with the engine, right? And that's what the amplifier is. It is the engine to drive that car. So you got to start with low distortion, which ours have. It's 0.05 THD, and I mean it's wicked low distortion. So we use those all the way down from the most inexpensive speaker we have, all the way up to our high-end cinema level speakers. You know, $8,000 a speaker or whatever.
Sure.
These guys can do everything though. Our original idea with them is we were going to create these really, really robust commercial amps that were going to be able to power as many 70-volt speakers as you want. And then if you want to do 8-ohm with them, you certainly could. And then we realized, man,
why not do both?
Yeah, let's just utilize them for both. And then everyone else kind of felt the same way. You know, they can do, if there is something that an amplifier can do, it exists on ours, whether it's 70 or 8-ohm. Or multi-zone, or mixing, or matrixing, or full DSP control, right?
It's like a Swiss Army of, it's like a Swiss Army knife.
It takes 3 different things and shoves it into one really convenient 1 or 2 U unit. And these things, I mean, you know, full DSP control, for instance, how dynamic these guys are. You can use them down here in a commercial environment. You can use them in a home for distributed audio. You can be a goofball like me and have a hand-built 18-inch sub in my living room that I've got one pumping 1,500 watts of just straight venom into.
I gotta come and see that.
It's pretty nasty. I'm building a second one right now. I've made a couple of revisions, but you know, these things are super dynamic. So you can do, you know, from a contractor level house that's just a couple D61s, you know, a $180 speaker retail, all the way up to, you know, a $5,000 sub, or the ones that are in your ceiling. Yeah, I mean it can do anything and everything. And the beauty about having a fully DSP controlled amp is, one, we can make the profiles for you. So when you're putting in our speakers, those speakers are sounding as perfect as they possibly can because they've got the absolute best power and the absolute best curves and everything in them. And then the alternative to that is it doesn't matter what you put it with because you can now take a sub like I have, right, and create a high pass, low pass filter. Create a couple EQ bumps, and boom, you can do anything you want, and it's fully up to you. So it just gives those speakers the best possible, you know, case of survival there.
So I think one of my favorite features, again, I'm talking as a dealer selling the product, is so when we have our rack here, you know, we've got our amplifiers. We have a little mini PC. I put them in on every job. $200 PC. I've got my team viewer running or whatever my son put on there this time. Hey, last week they wanted a little adjustment on the bass. They wanted a little bit low end because what we did here, something that's unique. We're not just playing, you know, SoundCloud music or anything like that. Every evening here, there's live music. So we created an XLR input, and automatically the guy comes in from his mixing board, plugs in. Guess what? They go very simply. They switch over to live music on our controllers. And now they've got beautiful live music, not blaring across the whole restaurant. And guess what? We pipe it up into the upper deck. So now the live music is not just downstairs, it's upstairs, it's outside. Everybody, again, is getting that Walt Disney effect of a good sounding system everywhere they are.
Creating that consistent atmosphere.
And that being said, I was able to just, you know, log into the PC, log into the main dining amp, make a little change to the curvature of the DSP, hit save. And I'm like, how's it sound now? He's like, how the hell did you do that? Don't worry about it. That's why you pay me.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what I'm here for. I'm always here. That's my coin tagline. I'm always on site. And good technology enables you to be a better representative for your company and provide better service to the customer at the end of the day, because it comes down to referrals. I mean, Gordon has given me God knows how many referrals over. I've known him now for almost 10 years since I moved down to Florida. You know, and we party, we do this, we do that. But when it comes to referrals, now people are coming here. They're like, holy crap, we need to redo downtown. So that's the position that we're at right now. And actually, I think I called your design team last week, and I gave them the layout of the land. They're working on a design for the downtown
Beautiful. That's
restaurant.
awesome.
Let's see here. So that kind of covers commercial. So yes, spending more money on audio does convert to more money and more profit in your place of business. Why? Atmosphere.
Yep.
Good atmosphere makes you stay longer.
Brings people back.
I think that's simple. And it brings people back and it makes them talk. So it brings more people in. So spend more money, get better audio, get Origin, call Freedom. Very simple. Now, we've had this great experience here at Aqua, right?
Yep.
Man, that music sounds good. Upstairs, outside, inside, bathroom, doing whatever we're doing, in the wine room. Now we're going home. And we're a little underwhelmed by what we're hearing because I just came back from Aqua and Cape Coral.
Oh, yeah.
Where do we start? What do we do? Let's just cover the whole swap. Let's spend the next 10, 15 minutes talking about residential. From outside to background music in the kitchen when we're dicing onions, right? To that surround sound in the living room for everyday watching. And then ultimately, let's finish this thing off with the creme de la creme of our cinema speakers and amplification and all that. So it's all you, brother. I'm going to let you speak.
All right. Yeah. I mean, especially, step one, distributed audio. That I think is the ticket. The foot in the door is distributed audio, whether it's indoor or outdoor. We're in Florida. You know what the best part about Florida is? Well, there's two. There's water everywhere. You can always go put your feet in the sand,
Yeah.
go, dip a toe
Do a
in
little
the water.
grounding, right?
Absolutely. Get in touch with some
I do it.
nature.
I'm at Sunset 3 times a week with my friggin' beer, cocktail,
Yeah,
cigar, my
exactly.
wife. Boom, looking at that. Anyway, I'm not telling anymore. We don't want any more people in Florida. Stay away. It's
Yeah,
actually
honestly,
crappy. It's shitty. We don't want you down here. Go. New York is giving tax incentives. Stay up there.
I was born and raised here. I am so on your side with that one. So yeah, the two best things are, the water, the sand, nature, everything's green. There's tons of wildlife. And the second thing is it's always outdoor season. There's no such thing as frozen ground. There's no such thing as snow. There's no such thing as it being too cold to go outside. It might hit 30s for a few hours one day, and then we'll be right back to sitting outside.
That's why we got the
You know what I
propane
mean?
hear.
Yeah, propane,
We
little
double
fire.
up, little fire.
Yeah.
We put some slippers on, right?
Exactly.
I did that about 3 times this. I think this season, for the first time in my 9 years that I've, since I've been here, living in Naples, was the first time that I think I had the heater on. Probably 6, 7 times. I got one of them nice little mushroom things. I rolled it under one eye.
Yep.
I got the TV, and everybody was nice and cozy. But they worked very well. I mean, I was enjoying my life.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is it's never too cold here to just throw on the heater or a fire and everybody's
Exactly.
cool. So the beauty of that is in all of these northern places and basically anywhere Georgia and above, right? I mean, it doesn't take much to get there. You do have a frozen season. You have some sort of a snow season. And you've now paid for outdoor audio that you can only use 8 months, 10 months a year.
How about the pool that you got to close?
Or the pool that you got to
They can only use 3 months out of the year. Right?
Absolutely. And see, we don't have that problem.
No.
That's the absolute best part about Florida, because you put outdoor audio outside. It's no different than putting a speaker inside. If you're sitting inside and you like to listen to a little background music, you've had a Sonos in your kitchen before, take that times 10.
Yeah.
This is a covered experience. Again, it's going back to that Disneyland effect.
Yeah.
Now, when you go room to room, you're having that same experience in your kitchen, and you walk into your bathroom to go use the bathroom, you're still having the same experience in that bathroom. You walk through your bedroom, through the kitchen, through the living room, and you're having that same experience everywhere. Now that translates into outside also. So if you have any of those customers, you have any of those people that, man, I've got a Sonos and I love my Sonos. That is one room of just average.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You throw in some beautiful distributed audio through a house, and it really doesn't take much. You and I both know it's really not
at all.
that intensive.
And I think
It's a
what I'm
completely
going to
different
cut in
experience.
really because I think it's the same motto or MO when I try to convince someone in like a restaurant like this to spend a little bit more. Once you get them there and you lead that horse to the water and they drink that beautiful water, they hear the sound. They're like, man, why didn't I do this sooner? I hear that every time. I have never had, and I've been doing this shit close to 29 years now.
Yep.
I've never had a client come back to me and say, Frank, I regret spending X dollars on those speakers in that ceiling or outdoor, or whether it's the ambisonic, which we're going to talk about that, the pod speakers outside, enveloping their hot tub and their pool and everything, facing back towards the house at a perfect volume level so their neighbors don't hear it across the waterway, you know, on the other side.
Yep.
So never has anyone come back to me. So I know we're doing the right thing.
And then you have that experience in the home where a customer's super pumped about it, and then outdoor, which in my opinion, especially with the way that you and I both live, which is relaxing on the porch, enjoying the sunset, taking in some fresh air, there is nothing that can beat outdoor audio.
No.
Because now, again, just like we spoke about earlier for a moment before we went into Aqua here, is you're sitting on your porch, you're sitting on your deck, you're sitting at your pool, and you have that feeling of being at a resort. You've got your knees, you know, you're up to your knees in water sitting on the side of the pool, and you're having this beautiful experience. Your favorite playlist, by the way, not the restaurant's favorite playlist.
Exactly.
Your favorite playlist.
Exactly.
And it's a completely different, vibe. It's a completely different atmosphere. When you're driving down the road, we all used to listen to the radio.
Sure.
None of us listen to the radio anymore. Well, partly because of commercials, but it's not your music.
Sure.
Half of it might be, but it's not. You go home, you turn on your playlist, you sit out there.
I don't remember last time I listened to radio, to be quite honest.
I don't either. That's
Well,
been a long
in the
time.
Tesla, like both you and I hit YouTube Music. I mean, I
Spotify,
love it. I get
YouTube,
in, it
whatever.
automatically starts playing. And the best part is I'm already listening to it in the house because I'm airplaying my music. I mean, I wake up to music and I fall asleep to music.
you.
Me is music all day long. I cannot fathom a life without music. I mean, it's insane. But like you just said, you get in the car, it starts playing my YouTube Music playlist. I've got God knows how many hours on there. And it just puts a smile on your face.
You know, a little of my backstory. So my dad owned an integration company. Started in 2000.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Orlando. Yep. So I grew up just like
Really?
Adrian.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was URC, HAI, RTI certified at all
I'm
about
like
by
the
13
HAI
or
king,
14. Oh, dude, HAI used to be sick.
Anybody
Centralite.
Centralite, that's what we did. So anybody still, like in Naples, there was a few HAI systems.
Yep.
We're still doing Elk now because that's the closest thing to HAI with, you know, the rules and commands and all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was, when they call Worthington up in PA, because they were still one of the distributors back then. Hey, do you have somebody that can fix this? They always call
the guy.
Frankie. I'm the guy. I have the software. I got the old laptop. It sits on my freaking shelf and the whole thing, you know? So, yeah.
So with that, man, I grew up with, I can almost not remember a time of not having some sort of either in-ceiling or box speaker in my room growing up. So for me, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, music is a way of life, right? And I'm constantly searching for that emotion that you get from music because it completely alters your, you know, if I'm working, you throw something a little bit, you know,
it's amazing.
Throw something a little bit more upbeat, I'm more productive. You know what I mean? If I'm relaxing at night, you know, I turn something a little bit downbeat. You know, I turn on like, some Incubus or something like that I just want to relax.
I do my Cuban stuff.
Yeah, there's.
You know, at night.
Is that
with
a relaxing
with my cigar.
one?
It is kind of relaxing because it's very, I'm going to share my playlist with you and you're going to be like, wow, I feel like I'm in a nice Cuban lounge. I mean, it's actually very cool. Last week, I just happened to, somehow it jumped into one of the things that I was listening to on my YouTube Music. And I'm like, then it just started spitting out kind of same stuff in that same kind of genre. I created a whole playlist. I'm like, holy crap, I love it. Now I'm listening to it constantly. You know, passing you on 75. That's what I was listening to.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I was not calling you down at all. So that's
what it makes you do, right? So we've got obviously the indoor distributed, right? Now we're taking that and because we're opening the beautiful slider, especially when the weather's like, this is godly. I mean, this is amazing. So as we're moving from the house outside with our drinks and, you know, hanging out with our friends, now you've got that sound. So we've got options for outdoor sound though, right? We've got covered lanais, which we can put in-ceiling speakers in, right? We've got pod speakers that we can put in the landscaping. We've got bollards. We've got all kinds of stuff. Let's talk about that a little bit because I think most people and most dealers are lazy and they take the path of least resistance and just throw a couple pairs of speakers in the lanai or in the ceiling.
And I'm
not a huge fan of that because you got all that glass, you got this, you kind of get that reflective sound. It's all hard surfaces. It's hard to get the low end and it's projecting everything, you know, majorly out. Let's put it that way. So let's spend some time, because I think, our customers, or if you're looking for, outdoor audio to, fill your outdoor space, whether it's a new home or retrofit or whatever you're trying to do, this is an important segment of what Kyle's going to talk about right now.
Yeah, that I love that you said that, because an initiative of mine, especially in Florida, because again, it makes sense down here. Not trying to sell the customer on landscape audio is the biggest mistake any dealer can make right now, especially in this state. Most other states it is the same, but
Sure.
especially in Florida, there's a lot of money in it. First of all, that's the straightforward part of it. But the secondary part of it is,
Oh, that doesn't mean that it's expensive to the consumer. I mean, there's a lot of money in the industry that is spent on that segment.
yes, it's actually really, as far as per job goes, it's only about this big. But in the long term, if you were to do 30 jobs a year, you did 30 landscapes a year, that's a lot more business.
Sure.
When it really boils down to it. And you have so many options for it. And the thing is, we're really big on demos. We want to talk to the dealer. We want to say, hey, when you've got a customer who wants to hear something like this, who has any level of interest in this, let's all get together. Let's all go to the dealer's, or let's all go to the end user's house. Let's let them play their playlist.
Well, that's why we have the demo kit, right?
Exactly.
We've got the pods. I roll in with my friggin' box. We set it up. And you know what? I don't think I've not had a customer not purchase after doing that demo.
Yep.
Okay. It's like me, and I always tell this, and most people know this about me. I sold Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door for 3 years in Newark, New Jersey, right? So you can't sell that machine for $1,350 without a proper demo, without showing what it can do. So yeah, it does a great job. You got a cleaner home. Here, we've got an amazing soundscape.
Yep. And you go sit out there, you bring some nice cold water bottles. If you look in the back of my car right now, I've got my Yeti cooler in there. Bring out a couple cold water bottles. You sit down in their space. There's beer in there. Relax.
Good. Later. we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Beer 30.
All right, it's time.
It's time. Wrap it up.
I've got a cooler in the back of my car. You keep some nice cold water bottles in there. The beer for when you need one.
When you're done.
And you go out there. You set up these speakers. You sit in their space with them, and you talk, and you have a conversation, and you do what we're doing. You're a human. They're humans. Yeah. They're not just it's not a number.
Correct.
And you sit there and you have the same exact type of scenario that they would have with their buddies. And all of a sudden they realize, oh, wow, this is comfortable.
Yeah.
And you bring them a water to their house, and you give that experience to them at their house. And all of a sudden when you leave and it's not there anymore, they go, man, I realize now that is a beautiful experience. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I think a lot of dealers miss out on. And I think a lot of consumers are actually, it's a little bit of a disservice to them, because a lot of them.
That's what I said previously. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not doing the demos, or they're just going path of least resistance, slapping a couple speakers in, because that's what they said the customer wanted. The customer doesn't know what they want until you show it to them.
They haven't seen half the stuff that we do.
Half the stuff that we have available.
Yep.
So talking about, because I said pods, we've got ballers, we've got all those different things. So does either one of them perform differently, better for a particular application? There's different yards, right? Especially here in Florida. We've got small yards, we've got odd shaped yards, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
We've got small planters by the pool. We've got bigger grassy yards. So, what would you recommend in certain types of applications?
Yeah, so we've got an array of stuff. We've got stuff that'll be for small seating areas, just some like little 4-inch satellites. But if you've only got a little fire pit area, it's perfect for it, because it's always going to be that low volume. It's not going to be a party. It's the sit and sip area.
Okay.
And then you go up from there, and you've got something like a big 6-inch driver. Now you can start to cover a nice little lanai with a pool and a hardscape area. And then you get into what we would consider like a performance line for the outdoor, which is our ambisonic. And that's where things really, really start to take a turn. So yeah, we've got a couple satellite options all in the Origin Acoustics line. We do own ambisonic. We've owned ambisonic for about oh geez, probably
I think
6
that
years
was a
now.
great addition to the line. Great purchase.
The best, one of the best owners of the company is who we bought it from, Jeffrey James Coombs. The guy is an absolute angel.
Didn't he invent something else though? Where did he come from?
He's invented quite a few things. James loudspeaker
that's
is
what it
Jeffrey
was.
James Coombs. Yeah, that was Jeff. So
Yeah, they're still around too. I think they're making
they do a couple things.
planter speakers or something like that, right? Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
Even though I think the ambisonic ones are better, but
the
obviously.
ambisonic stuff is in a class of its own.
Yeah.
So with
Why?
that,
let's touch that. Why?
Yes.
Because we've got the Origin stuff, and then we're kicking it up a notch. We're kicking it up a notch based on the size. We're kicking it up a notch on the technology, and that's what I specifically want you to talk about.
Yep.
And yeah, we're kicking it up a notch on price as well, because you're getting what you're paying for, right?
So let's start at the base level, right? Let's just start at a normal in-ceiling speaker. So on our normal in-ceiling speakers, it's something that I'm a little jaded to, and I honestly do them a little bit of a disservice.
Sure.
We have an X-Wave cone, which actually, if you look at our cones, are actually inverted, which allows that to roll off. That way, when it hits the side of the basket there, It doesn't push that back in and create distortion and echo. We've got a DPSD tweeter, which is a dual plane stabilized tweeter. So we've got a pin that goes down the center of the tweeter. That way it keeps it from shaking back and forth, which again, decreases the amount of, what's it called that it's got on there? Distortion.
Yep.
On the edge where that basket comes down and that X-Wave falls into, we've got a rubber surround there. That way it absorbs all of that wave. So you go through all this and it kind of looks like another in-ceiling speaker, but they're very special. There's a lot of things about our speakers that are really cool. So now we transition into the outdoor. Now we've done all this, right? And we call ambisonic, and this is something that's been a little bit misconstrued as well. Ambisonic is our performance line. It's not necessarily that it's our performance line, but it does really, really good at a few things. And it is a high performance line for sure.
Yeah.
Interior, we have a ton of ribbon tweeters, and people always ask, well, or a ton of dome tweeters.
Dome tweeters.
Well, why wouldn't you do ribbons on the inside? Well, ribbons aren't
really need it.
Yeah, they're not just better.
Sure.
They're just different. And that's what makes the outdoor ambisonic stuff so special, is because it is a ribbon. So they're coated in a special material. It's actually a material that was on the spaceship, which allows it to re-enter the atmosphere. It's extremely weatherproof, which is what allows them to carry so much distance. So when you use these ambisonic speakers, you actually have almost twice the effective distance of effective volume. So instead of a dome tweeter being somewhere around the 55 to 60 foot area,
Sure.
you're looking at close to 100 foot of that same amount of volume carry. So if you're at the back of the pool and you've got the back of the pool, some shrubs, the pool, hardscape, seating area, sliding glass door. Well, now you're 80 to 100 feet away from the back of the area. If you don't have speakers over the lanai, you've got the people in the pool are getting screamed at.
Sure.
The people over there by the sliding glass door are having an okay experience.
And again, when you take a look at the house, it's the same damn thing that we were talking about in the restaurant, right? You have to have the proper coverage.
Yep.
So you're not getting screamed at over here and over here.
And dead.
And then I think the other big thing of the ribbon tweeter, which I know is my experience, is not just length going out that way, but it's the dispersion and the wide angle that you get coming off of that thing as well.
Yep. So it's actually, the dispersion is significantly less than a dome tweeter.
Really?
However, yeah,
Okay. I'd probably argue that, but I'm not the one that designed it.
So a dome tweeter is somewhere like around 160.
Okay.
A ribbon tweeter is actually 90 by 110.
Really?
Yeah. So it's actually significantly less. The reason it feels so massive,
well, that's what I'm saying,
is because a dome tweeter, and this is the confusion that everybody gets into. Why wouldn't you bring a ribbon inside? Well, a ribbon's got an aperture this size compared to an aperture this size with a dome.
Yeah.
So it's not that one is innately better. They're both good for different things. Because a dome tweeter can disperse so much at an 8, 10, 12 foot ceiling, it doesn't feel that crazy because it's only 8, 10, 12 feet away from you. That ambisonic feels massive because we're 25 feet away from it, and we feel like we can walk from corner of property to corner of property, but that's because we're so far. Because it has that effective volume, it allows it to spread out way more.
And that makes sense because that was my experience.
Yep.
So I thought it had a wider dispersion rate, but okay, well, that's pretty cool.
That's actually the biggest hurdle with ribbon tweeters is dispersion.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of the magic with what we do is how good the waveguides are. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle and Jeff.
Let's talk a little bit about, I still want to talk about bollards because I think bollards are, I think nobody really talks about them much.
Yep.
But I think they have a certain, a place depending on the size of your property, whether it's residential, or commercial, a restaurant with beautiful gardens in the back, as opposed to having two speakers all the way over there blasting.
Yep.
To have, bollards around and to give you that nice 360 sound. Talk about those guys a little bit because I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, so those bollards, I mean, let's take performance out of it for a second. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, the bollards are probably the best outdoor speaker as far as aesthetic goes, perhaps in our industry. I mean, they are very easy to look at.
Sure.
Bunch of custom colors and match any aesthetic. You can do black, white, purple, gray, pink, whatever you want. I mean, anything, anywhere that it would, it would allow it to blend in more,
Sure.
it's going to happen. So just on the aesthetic portion of it.
Do those have subs built in? Some
They
of
do.
them?
Yes, sir.
Because
All
I
of
know,
them.
the bollards one, I'm like, okay, and I've gotten that question. What kind of sound you're going to get out of a little 6.5 or whatever we're putting in there?
Yep.
Or a 4. Well, I'm like, relax, we got you covered. We're going underground, baby.
So I love to call our big baller the entertainment speaker.
Got it.
It is like, in my opinion, it's the perfect entertainment speaker for ease of install, it's pretty to look at. It's 360 degree because now you've got a big 6.5-inch driver. You've got a conical ribbon tweeter down firing. So you got a ton of coverage, big 360 degree radius. They're really pretty. Plus they've got a big old 10-inch driver on the bottom for a sub.
Love it.
Completely separately driven. So you're throwing 500 watts to that sub down there, getting big boom. So now what you found yourself in, instead of having 4 speakers in a sub and having a hotspot for the sub, because you know how subs
You're
are.
going to
It's
get
hard.
especially outside. I mean, you're in infinity to loading a room in a theater.
Yeah.
It's easy to calculate pressure.
Right.
Cubic footage, we got it done. We know what we need.
Yep.
Outside,
Complete opposite.
complete opposite.
So what these really end up giving you is, they give you a great aesthetic. Yeah, they give you a lot of coverage. Yeah, it's 360 degrees, but every single place you can hear a satellite,
You can hear
that sub too. So that's what makes those
nothing
special.
more gratifying. I don't know about you guys, but there's nothing more gratifying than having a nice low end boom boom
Oh yeah.
going with the music. It just makes me happy. I'm telling you right now, it makes me smile when I hear that.
Yeah, especially in my own backyard.
There you go.
Sign me up for that. Yeah.
You have a pool?
No pool.
No.
No. My backyard is wood.
I got one of the little plastic things I can duck in. And
I don't. I might look like a beached whale in there, but
that's okay.
it's
We'll give you some beers.
Yeah, little sunscreen on the nose.
Some speak.
It'll be
We'll put
fun.
some pods around you, and you'll be in your own little
That'll be my
environment.
little 4.1 right there. Just put the sub underneath Just see the water.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
This is what happens over years being in the business. Well, he's 30. I've been in the business for almost 30 years, longer if I count in all my car audio. But it's so much. You get to meet so many great people, so many great products, and for me over the years, how many manufacturers that I've dealt with, and again, talking about Origin, because I like to go back to that. It really, if anybody's thinking about either becoming a dealer like ourselves, they're one of the best companies, and I'm reiterating because I said it in the beginning, but they're one of the best companies on the planet to work with. I mean, and again, we're in the entertainment business. I mean, we create moods. I mean, we can make you happy, we can make you sad, I guess, based on what we're playing, right?
Yep.
And it's just, I'm grateful for their support. I'm grateful for the team back in Vegas, and we're looking forward to hopefully doing a boatload of more projects like we did here. After this podcast comes out, people will have some education, and go from there. But let's go back now. We've got we talked about background indoor audio. We talked about the pods. We've talked about the bollards. We've talked about the performance ambisonic stuff, which I think if you're going to buy anything, I don't care. Get a home equity loan and buy the ambisonic, okay? Go down that route, or I'll finance it for you, because I'm telling you, you're not going to complain.
Yeah.
Trust me. Take it from Frankie P. You're not going to be unhappy. Anyway, let's talk about universal rooms, like the living room where we watch TV on a daily basis. What does Origin offer the consumer there?
Oh man, Jeez, we
Another 1 hour discussion.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm getting hot. This sun's cooking, so let's move.
We are in Florida, yeah.
You got 5 minutes.
So, all right, time
Start
to spin
the
them out. So, let's go with standard 5.1, right? The normal, well, I wouldn't say the normal, but probably the most common thing a consumer wants in their living room, 5-inch ceiling speakers in there, and find a place to put it in wall sub. It makes for a really nice experience. You still get a little bit of separation. You still feel like you've done something in the living room. But it's not too involved, right?
Sure.
It doesn't cost this exorbitant amount of money, but it still gets you that big feeling of a room like that. Now you can go up from there and you can go to some in-walls, some LCRs or THDRs, which for us are just some typical in-wall speakers that we have. Nothing too crazy.
And you have all kinds.
All kinds, yeah, all the way from a couple $100 up to a couple $1,000. And then you've got invisible, right? And that's kind of where things start to take a turn a little bit, is when you get into the invisible.
Talk about that. Extrapolate on the invisible, because like we said before, invisible, most people don't even know it exists, number one.
Yep.
And I'm not being funny, invisible in the house, but they're not the same invisible speakers of what we had, 20 years ago.
Sure. They're not
now.
Yeah.
Insane.
They're not the invisible speakers we had 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
You know what I mean? There's been some crazy leaps with that technology. So the way an invisible speaker works is basically cut a hole in your wall, put a drywall patch in there, except pretend that's a speaker. So tape the edges, drywall over it, mud the front. Now suddenly that wall has turned into a speaker. So you've got a driver behind there and you've got a transducer behind there. Transducer is basically this little micro vibration puck that takes a wall and turns it into a speaker. You can add it onto this glass. Yeah, sure, same thing.
And it'll turn it into a transducer or acoustical surface that you'll be able to hear stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, bows of boats. You can do it on all sorts of stuff. Ours is primarily built for the drywall application. There's a couple things you can put in front of it also. You can do wood veneer over the front of it. All sorts of cool stuff. With ours, metals are tough because they're tingy, and glass is tough because it's thick, and some other stuff. It's specifically built with the diaphragm on the front. Oh yeah, texture.
Can you do wallpaper recommended or not?
Oh yeah,
really,
not a problem.
So all right, and here's where the crazy part is, right? Let's go back to tweeters, and I think the biggest increase in performance in these invisible speakers, they were back in the day, they were flat. You had no highs, you had nothing.
Yep.
And nowadays, you really have a hard time figuring out whether it's a regular speaker or it's that in-wall, because you are getting those higher frequencies, even though when it's covered up.
Yep.
How the hell are they doing that?
Yeah, that's the beauty of that transducer, being able, because the transducer's not, it's like you said, you're turning something into an acoustical surface. So you're not actually creating a ton of noise with this little puck. Sure. This little puck is taking the medium that it is touching and turning that into the speaker. So it allows us to then turn that into all those high frequency units.
Yeah.
So what was hard in the past is you kind of had to pick one or the other. You either had a traditional tweeter and a traditional driver, or you had only a transducer, because the technology hadn't been built yet to make that transducer on its own without a big corrugated surface to utilize.
Sure.
It wasn't good enough on its own to create those really crispy high, the cymbals, the female voices, the stuff that now you start to get some of that muffled sound out of.
Yeah.
And over the last 5 years, there's been huge changes in the transducer market. And we happen to develop a really, really good one. So now when
I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
And in where we had the Bang & Olufsen stuff with the demo, and they had the rears there, I'm like, no shit. I thought it was the B&O playing there, and I'm like, no, it's the goddamn Invisibles. I was blown away.
It's hard. If you walk into a room with like a D63 or a D65, and you walk into a room with an 803 Invisible, which is, don't get me wrong, big 8-inch driver, dual transducer for high and mid-range, but it's an invisible speaker.
Sure.
You almost can't tell the difference.
Sure.
I mean, they're
incredible. I'm going to have to do, because we are building out that new demo space where our office is. And we're doing a high-end, super tech-savvy, connected conference room, because we're doing more of that kind of work. I think we're going to throw a set of the invisible speakers in there, because we've got room. It's a huge room. So we can demo it, and especially try to appeal to all of the designers that hate us integrators, right?
It's designer candy, man.
They hate us.
Yep.
I mean, because, okay, here's a wall and we're putting 2 in-wall speakers in, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. Like, come on.
No, you're not. It's the problem.
No, exactly. So now we've got the invisible thing, which may, I think, would be a pretty cool concept. Just like we demo the outdoor stuff. Hey, come and take a look at the the speakers that we have in this room,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, now the husband and the designer can both have their way.
Correct.
You know, and that's the
Correct.
beauty of it is, and that's been our big tagline, you know, for the last several years is design-centric technology. Everything we're building today, from the bollards to the invisibles to the MOS, you know, the small
The
3-inch
small,
opening.
we didn't talk about that.
Right? All that stuff, it's all focusing on appealing to that designer market. Because
Sure.
ultimately, you and I know this, who can make a customer spend their money better?
The designers.
They're the only ones.
They're the only ones.
Nobody can make a customer spend their
Nope.
money like a designer. And
Nope.
the customer has a vision. The designer says, done, I'll make that vision happen for you. And the second you start to stray, the designer goes, no, we talked about this.
Sure.
This is what we're doing.
And here's, you know, one thing that I want to mention to, you know, you guys out there watching this, that, you know, if you're building a house, don't let the builder / the architect / the designer push us off. Because at the end of the day, the quicker that we get in the process, when you're laying out walls and all of that, we can then create a perfect system for you at that time. After you've just paid $150,000 for a print and they forgot to put in a little closet for us to keep our equipment, or a wall space for a wall-mounted iPad, or whatever it may be, guess what? Now you're paying for revision, so you're spending more money. If you're building, tell your architect, find an integrator in your area, wherever you're at, work with them from the beginning and the designer to get the perfect outcome, because it's just going to save you money and it's going to give you what you were expecting, you know? So, family room, surround sound, every day, got it. We've got custom made sound bars, do we not?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and they're ambisonic or Origin, for that matter.
Even better.
So you're talking ambisonic, you know, I tell everybody it's the 50% rule. If you put a big ambisonic soundbar in your living room, good luck getting past 50%.
But they're all made to the size of the TV that we have, right?
So-
or how does that happen?
Custom size.
Yeah.
What you'll do is you'll send us in a SKU. You know, hey, this is the Samsung TV I'm using. This is the size, et cetera, et cetera. We'll cut out for the IR bar. We'll custom match it. You can send us the
That's
paint
sexy.
code on the wall. We'll custom match to that. If you're putting it in your garage next to your Ferrari, send us the paint code of that Ferrari. We'll match it to the car. You know what I
Love
mean?
it.
I mean, we can go as
Love
crazy or simple as you want. White, black, whatever.
That just reminded me of another thing. You're custom printing for the grills.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
We
that.
forgot about that. How
that-
cool is that?
That is wicked. I show people pictures of that and they still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can, you know, basically you pull that plug out of the ceiling that you're going to put that speaker in. You save that drywall, you save that wood, you save that material, whatever it is.
So is that how
send
you
us
guys
that
are doing it?
material.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can do it a few ways.
Photo, try to adjust it.
Yeah, so we know how big that cutout is.
Sure.
So if you send us a photo of it,
Yeah.
we'll graphic design the flow through it.
I should have
we
done
can
it in
still
my
build
house, because I've got, on my lanai, I've got the beautiful 10-inch,
You know, it's
the
never
top
too
of the
late.
line
Frank.
ones. What's that?
It's never too late.
I know it's never too late, but you know, I've got other important stuff too. And I've got like a gray sea-washed tongue and groove.
Yep.
So it would have been cool to take those grills. I just may take you up on that.
And I tell you what, you walk out the
I
door and
think
you
you
look
should take
down
those
that
with,
line.
and you should do that, because I'm going to be demoing those. So I think
Done.
you should take care of Frankie P.
Yeah, I'll take care of Frankie.
All
P.
right,
we can figure
beautiful.
that out.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I got a ton of people coming over and looking, so I mean, it's going to sell
Makes
itself.
sense. Yeah.
It's going to sell itself.
Oh yeah.
So we got the now we had the sound bars, we've got power, we've got speakers, we got all of that stuff. And let's end this thing on kind of the creme de la creme. Even though I'm seeing here in Florida, because of how expensive square footage is compared to up north, where we had basements and we had attics and we had rooms over the garage to put in a dedicated theater.
Oh yeah.
It's not, I've done one, you know, badass, the one that you were a part of.
Yep.
With all of the Origin, you know, the in-walls. We did a 7.2, 7.4, whatever the hell it was. I mean, it was badass. Audio control amplifiers, you know, back then, because you didn't have the Origin ones yet. But, and it came out. I mean, it's an amazing room. What's involved in doing something like that? How much of a space do we really need to set up a, you know, high-end theater room?
You know, that's a loaded question. Because unless
I'll try to get close.
Yeah, unless you going back to getting in early, unless you're building that house and you have the 100%, hey, I'm going to put a theater room in this house. No room is perfect, right? Now, if you start from scratch, yeah, I mean, you can kind of go as big or as small as you want. You know, a lot of people are like a 20 by 40 if you want a big theater or something like that.
So let's talk about that, because I think people, rectangular, square, I mean, what do you want?
Most are long.
Most are long.
Most are long.
Okay.
Yep, most are long. Allows you to get a couple different heights in. You know, wide isn't necessarily as important. You know, the wider you are, the more off canter you are to the screen. The more to one side of the center channel you are, so you don't get quite the same experience. So it's better to be long than it is to be wide, unless you account for that.
Sure. Based on, I think, how many theater chairs you want to do, and the size of your family, and the size of your, your friends, and whether you're treating it as a man cave and you got all the dudes in there, watching Sunday Night Football or whatever it may be.
We've got a big theater in Vegas, and I think it's 20 by 40, and it's.
I think it's about that
big
size.
room.
Yeah, that is a big room.
Yeah.
Okay, but we've roughly got the same concept. We're gonna have a left, we're gonna have a right, we're gonna have a center. Now with Dolby Atmos, we've got a whole nother thing. We've got the most amazing technology when it comes to production of movies, with the birds and the bullets flying and all that stuff, and you feel breaking. The glass breaking left to right, or my favorite demo, and I'm going to ask you, I want you to start thinking about this. If you were to play a song, the best song for you to demo an outdoor system, because we're in Florida, we're talking about outdoor, I want to know what your best demo song is. So think about that. Don't tell me now. We're at the end. But I remember back in the day when we had our company in Pennsylvania, my best demo was Behind Enemy Lines. If you remember, what's his name with the crooked nose? I forget his name, battle names. He's running. It's in Serbia when they got down with the plane.
Yep.
And he's running and he hits a trip line and it's go boop, boop, boop. All the grenades are popping and he's running. And then at the end, there's one huge explosion and the video kind of just deforms of him just kind of getting blown away. And that was my best demo. When I demoed that, people were like, holy crap. I can't believe that's what we have in this room.
Yep.
And it sold it. And you put the clients or the potential clients in the money seat, the two seats in the middle, so they're perfect on everything. They're the ones that are paying for it. They should have the best seats in the house anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So let's just talk about a little bit of that, and then we'll just wrap it up and do a little bit of recap.
Yeah, I mean, for Atmos, in my opinion, you're adding two speakers. You have to do it. If you're going to do a living room, that's a different conversation.
Sure.
But if you're doing any sort of a dedicated room or even a media room or a room that you're converting that isn't the perfect room, in my living room, it's a great example. I have Atmos in my living room and it is still absolutely a game changer.
Wow.
I'm a big Accountant fan when it comes to the demo. It is a little bit slept on. Not a lot of people use it. It's a little bit of an older movie. But man,
that was great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And at the end, towards the end anyways, spoiler alert, when that first bullet comes through that window, it is the most visceral over your head. And every single person you show that to, it happens fast, it happens loud, and every single time they look at you, and it is a visceral reaction going, holy cow, now I get it.
Yeah.
And then everything that you show after that, now they're aware of what's going on. Yep.
Now they're looking for it.
And so the Atmos, any receiver, not any, but the vast majority of receivers that we are going to be supplying are going to have Atmos channels. Awesome. And at the point when you've done an entire room already, you've got the amplification, you've got the speakers, and you've got the display or the screen, you've got all these things, it's 2 more speakers.
Got it.
And if it's not 2, it's 4. And 4 is way cooler, but 2 is still absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I think more speakers, the better. I mean, that's just me, and the louder, the better. I mean, that's just us. We're guys. I don't think you can watch a movie at low volume level. I'm like, why,
I watch everything in Michael Bay format, 99.
There you go.
And very, very bass heavy.
Oh my God. All right. So here's what we got, guys. We got Origin Acoustics. You can go to their website, which is what? Origin Acoustics.
OriginAcoustics.com.
Google it,
OriginPro.com.
ChatGPT it, whatever it is. If you're not in Florida and you're seeing this and you're interested in buying the product, they've got a great dealer locator, I believe, right on the website.
No,
no dealer locator.
and we're CI focused. You know,
Oh, okay,
we're here for you guys, no one else.
All right, so here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're watching this, you're going to call me. My information is going to be on the bottom, and I'll take care of you anywhere in the country. How does that sound?
There you go. That's perfect.
That's the way we're going to do it. So Origin Acoustics, anything from outdoor, indoor, theater, commercial, residential, boats, yachts, planes, helicopters, four-wheelers, snowmobiles. Origin has got you covered with the audio. And I'd like to thank Kyle. I appreciate you
Frankie
coming.
P.
Thank you for spending the time with me,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Thank you.
And let's go get some beers.
Yes, sir.
Till next time.